steering. That is a feat, man. If you ever drove a 4-wheel drive with 35s on it and no power steering, you got to get them guns in there, man. So yeah, today is a monumental thing that has happened. I've been working for several years to get past this point, and I'm getting ready to see what it is, and I'm excited about it. But yeah, I decided to use the Ford this morning. I need to get it moving around and stuff. It's set while we were out of town for that week, and the carburetor dried out a little bit on it. It's kind of hard to get started, but if you go out and run this thing every few days, it really does. I mean, 2 pumps and it starts right up. It's really a good driving truck. I'm at the point now where I need to like go get the tags for it and get it registered and just put it to use, because man, this thing, aside from the power steering, it's ready to roll, you know. So I got to go get that done, but I got to go back out of town again this weekend, so I've got to do that. But yeah, we'll get in here and I'll show you what I'm excited about, and maybe what I don't have to deal with anymore. But kinda, man, this is kind of hard to steer with one hand. But yeah, let's pull up here and check it out. So the awesomest part about what I don't have to deal with anymore is my child is now at the height where we can use a booster seat. So no more of this carrying around a lazy boy size of a car seat. Like, don't have to deal with that anymore, so thank God. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy about that, and got to take the kiddo to school in this beast. So far, so good. Now this truck does pose kind of a weird issue. Like I said, the power steering, I'll get into that when I get this thing a little more cleaned up and going. But yeah, something needs to be done about that, but it's not something I'm really worried about right now. But yeah, I had to haul a few things with it yesterday. So far so good. I need to power wash and clean it up. I mean, I gotta put the door panel back on because I got that dent out of the door and everything, but I've got to do that. It could really use some weather stripping in the doors and stuff. Like I said, I don't know if it's something I'm going to do or maybe the next owner will, but you know, this is a pretty rust-free, solid truck, man. It really needs to be built. If I didn't have my red Ford, this thing would not be going anywhere. But for now, I'm going to utilize this truck because aside from my Chevelle, this is the only other old car that works, so I'm definitely going to use it for sure. But man, the more I look at this thing, the more it makes me want to do some fishing. It's like a catfishing rig here. I really like it. Makes me think, man, I could see this thing parked at like a VFW at like 3 o'clock in the morning with a couple guys passed out in it, like they left the house to go fishing with a case of beer, and you know, the night just led where it did, you know, where their wives are upset or mad at them because they've been out all night when they should have been home 6 hours earlier, you know. Don't ask me how I know about that kind of stuff, but yeah, it does look like something, like a good time. And what's cool I like about these trucks, well, one, I like the round headlights, but I like the body style. Like I said, my family had these when I was growing up. Pretty cool trucks. But yeah, I need to power wash it, and really it's about a 6-pack and a few hand tools away from being a good truck. And it's good. Like I said, I'm going to start driving it to work and using it because, you know, I like the shell camper on that truck, but it's good and bad at the same time because you can't haul any larger stuff, and it seems here lately I've needed to haul stuff that's larger, so it's made it kind of a pain. But I'll get this door open, get started. What I'm working on right now is the old Blazer. I'm really going to buckle down because I got to get some stuff done. Like, I'm getting a little too scatterbrained, and this thing just so far, to be so easy, nothing is working out on this thing. Let me go turn this light on. yeah, to be so easy, nothing's really working out. So I basically, all I've got done this weekend, and I've spent about 3 hours on it, is I put a fuel pump on it. That's it. Like everything. Well, I put the oil pressure line, cinders line on it too. And what I like about these is that this thing has a metal mechanical line instead of the old, I'll think of what this is called in a minute. I know what it's called. I'm just having a brain fart. But yeah, I'm going to try to, I guess now, is put the exhaust manifold on this side. The weirdest thing that I've never had this issue before, but all the starter bolts I have for this motor and the new starter, they're bigger. Well, the standard ones are like a 7/16 style thread. Well, this motor had an SM465 on it when we got it. And I went ahead and put the motor in that Camaro. Well, you know, that car has a Super T10 4-speed in it and all that stuff. Well, the starter off the Camaro has got standard 3/8 style bolts in it. So do I put this starter on there? Now I got to go do the chase on. I'm hoping I can just find some bolts and put that on there, because that's a starter that fits that Camaro. I mean, it's not really relevant that I use that starter, but whatever motor we put in it that Matt has will probably have its own starter and all that kind of stuff. But usually when I put a motor in, I start from the right side and work my way around the left, so it's getting me out of sync with how I usually do stuff. But again, it'll make a trip to town, and it'll eat up most of my morning going to town and back. So I'm just going to try to bolt on all the stuff I can. But what's crazy is, and most of y'all probably would think it's kind of overkill, but I went ahead and ordered the larger radiator, like what would go in a 3/4 ton or 1 ton truck. Well, I would show you on this one. That's a great thing about having another one, but the actual radiator for the small blocks and stuff is shorter. And so I got a new panel for the top of the core support. And I didn't know this, but these core supports, they give you bolts and they would screw down inside this core support. There'd be like a encapsulated nut in there. Well, there's nothing in there. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to drill those holes out in the bottom part of the deal, and I'm going to bolt this on there. I'm going to have to go use some longer bolts, and then I'm going to, on the bottom side of this, is I'm going to weld the nuts to the core support. That way I can screw the bolts down in it. Then the radiator go in there, and I'll have that larger radiator for the heavy, you know, to have the heavy duty cooling, you know, bigger radiator, taller radiator, and that way, you know, try to make this thing run as cool as I can, you know. But yeah, this has got to get on the road, man. I'm tired of looking at it and like, because what I do, I'll tinker with this, and then I want to go out there and power wash and clean that. But really, with what I got going this weekend, there's no need in doing that. So I need to get as many parts and pieces on this as I can and get as far ahead. And then when I get back, I'm gonna try to get Matt to help me. We're gonna put that gas tank in there, and then like, it's just really short work, man. And then after I get it running, I'm gonna go ahead and pack these wheel bearings, finish the brake shoes on the rear, and I'll install that new master cylinder. And then it's time to start. This thing should be ready to drive as long as the transmission and the transfer case work, which I don't know, but the transmission fluid's clean, and the truck's really, this thing, I hit a home run on this truck, because this one, unlike that one's rusty. This one is not. This is a really, really nice truck. Like, oh, if that one was in as good a shape as this one is, oh my God, that would be fantastic. And then after this one's done, then I got to get that 72 and get it put together, because like I said, I haven't touched the motor, and I got to fix the freeze plugs and stuff on it, and get a few gaskets, and that thing will go back together. And then I'm ready to get some stuff on the road, man, because we're rolling up on spring now, and I don't plan on spending all spring in this garage working on stuff. I've also got to get the transmission out of that and change that distributor, and then I've got a little rust repair to do, and then this thing's going to be on the road. Like, I'm going to start driving it, because hopefully by this time next year, Matt and I are going to run these two rigs. I'm really thinking about going to like Taos, New Mexico, going on a little hiking trip, and I think we're going to drive both these trucks there. And I think that is a fantastic idea. But yeah, I want to get these done and going, because man, the more I think about it, like, you always think about a car that you want to restore and go all the way with. And you know, I always wanted a Chevelle and stuff, but I want the right one, you know what I mean? And with the way things are going, I have the right one, you know, and it's right there. But I don't want to restore it. I don't want to paint it. Even, I mean, I want to, but I don't want, it's going to be expensive. You can't find people. I don't know who to trust to actually do it. And I could do it myself, but I don't want to run into what I did on my other Chevelle where I wasn't happy with it, because I put so much work into that, and I told myself I ruined a good patina car to try to make it nice, and I don't want to do that again. Now, mind you, this car's patina is a little far gone, but man, I can jump in this and go anywhere, anytime, at any point right now. It is ready to rock and roll, man. I don't have to do anything to it. Like, I had to air a tire up on it the other day. I've literally had to do hardly no maintenance on this since I LS swapped it, and I've probably put 30,000 miles on it. Like, I know people don't like the LS swap thing, and I mean, I don't want everything to be LS swapped because I'm gonna still use small blocks as I have them, but like, man, it just works so good, and that's why I really think I'm gonna do that on the Scout, because I feel like, well, what's bad? I wanted to LS swap this and get it going, but it runs too good. Like this 350, everything just works so good on this. I'm gonna leave it the way it is and just restore it and do it the way it needs to be. But my plan, since I have a 6-liter, I'm gonna do the 4L60, do a NP208 transfer case in the Scout, and I'm gonna make that kind of like this. I want it where it's turnkey, ready to go, where at any moment I can jump in it, because like when you have a busy schedule and you got family stuff and you got swim class, all that, I can't necessarily go out to a car that's been sitting all week and jump in it, and it needs to work. And like with the carbureted cars, like I was saying with the Ford, if you don't start those up and run them every few days, they'll have problems, you know. And I know some people used to drive these all the time, but back then they were new and they were only, 10 years old, and they work pretty good. But these things are old, man, and you got to really come to the realization that you got to modernize them a little bit if you're going to use them for everyday duty. So like, that's where I think I'm going to go with the Scout. It's just, I need to get some of this other stuff out of the way, because like, I got to get some stuff running. That's got to get running and get out of here. The 72's got to get running. I got to get it in service. These two trucks got to work. I want to get this thing in service. And I know I'm going to do what Rust Repair It needs on the cab mounts, and then it's going to be ready to rock and roll. Like, this does not bother me. It needs to be on the road. And this thing drives good. You guys will see eventually. But yeah, so let's get our tools out, and let's see if we can put some more stuff on the Blazer. So yeah, let's get this lawnmower out of the way and get ready. Alright, so here's our parts list for this morning. We're going to install the driver's side exhaust manifold. Going to put the cap and wires and stuff on it. And then we're going to went ahead and picked up a new 600 CFM Edelbrock carburetor. It's what I like to use for this kind of stuff. And a 1-wire 100 amp alternator, which again, I'm trying to make this thing where you can take it on long trips. It's going to have enough power to power some accessories and be relatively trail serviceable on the trail. So, and I'm trying to go over everything where if this thing breaks down, I should be able to fix it pretty easy and delete a lot of those. Like every hose I can change. Like I got a new power steering hose for that. Just try to take a lot of the what ifs out of it. So let's get started. So I never thought I would see the day where I would pick exhaust manifolds over a set of headers. But on a 4-wheel drive, for what I'm doing, the exhaust manifolds are a better option, as there'll be literally zero maintenance, and GM put them on there from the beginning, so why not retain them? I'll definitely have a lot more clearance in the suspension, and it just, like I said, there's no maintenance to them, so that's what I decided to go ahead and retain. All right, the manifold is bolted up. I installed the new donut gasket that goes in the bottom of it. Now we're going to go down here and put the bolts on the manifold, which is pretty easy. You can see that donut's laying up in there. I'm gonna go ahead and put this flange up here. Let's see here. Yeah, you almost need a second person really to do your videoing and all that kind of stuff, because man, it's kind of a pain in the butt. Let's see here if I can lay that down like that. Yeah, it's a lot of hard work. How come that, there we go. All right, slide up on there. There we go. Okay, now we put our bolts on. Put the taps on it. Start running these bad boys up there. Yeah, I always like to put all new exhaust gaskets on. I just, squealing belts and exhaust leaks just don't, I don't know, it's just something about cars that kind of gets on my nerves. I always got to fix those to feel comfortable. Now, I don't care if half of the lights don't work on it, but definitely want it to sound decent, you know? How come that's not wanting to go up there? There we go. But yeah, I think this is going to turn around and be a pretty good truck. We've definitely put a lot of work into it, and by far the biggest investment that I've done in a while. But yeah, this is going to make a good truck. I know it. I know it's going to have a good engine. I'm still kind of worried about the old transmission, how that's going to turn out. But it should be all right. Come on now, get on there. There we go. It almost feels like it's crossways on there. Oh, there's a kick down cable. I need to go ahead and get that thing. Get the old ratchet and swivel here. Okay, I don't have much light under here, but we'll go ahead and get those ran up. That one on there. Now, I don't know, I'm thinking about taking it to the muffler shop because it does have an exhaust system on it, but it's kind of crudely put together. But I think I'm going to do the exhaust system the exact way I did on the green truck. And that guy in Owasso B&M muffler, he does a really, really good job. So we'll get these tightened up, and then we'll go back to the top. Alright, now we got the driver's side manifold all tightened up. We'll go ahead and put our plug wires on, get our cap. And I can't put the wires down to the right side because I don't have the manifold and the starter on it. But we can at least get this part finished. And I got to pull up that kick down cable as well because I saw it was laid over on the transmission. So, but yeah, slowly but surely this machine's coming right along. I am pretty happy. Yeah, it's actually kind of nice with these fender wells out because you can get to what you're doing, which I think is kind of very necessary. It's almost like having it on a lift, you know? But yeah, let me tell you, this is a nice rust-free truck, man. I'm really happy with it. It is really a good rig. So yeah, let me grab a few more parts. We're going to put the distributor on. We're going to remove that lift plate. We'll get the carburetor out. We'll put it on. Then I think we'll go to the alternator, put that bracket, put the alternator on. I'm gonna do this power steering hose next. Just try to get as much as we can get through here today. It's looking good though. Alright, let's unbox this bad boy. We're at that point. Let's get the manual that I'm not going to read. There's the base plate and the gasket. Ooh, look at that pretty alternator. Got a fuel filter. There is the carburetor. Warning, using E85 fuel will void the warranty. So no E85 for this rig. Well, this thing probably has every bit of 8.5 to 1 compression. So I don't see any reason of using that kind of fuel. See here. Okay. Pull that out of there. There it is. So yeah, let's gonna go ahead and put all the plugs on it. See what I need to install there. But yeah, these things are always nice looking. They get dirty pretty easy, but yeah, so we're gonna get that, find out what I need to plug on and all that stuff and get it put back on the blazer. This is always a cool time. I don't know if you can tell, but I am ready to get this running. Man, oh man, now that looks fantastic. So we got our wires on, carburetor's bolted on. I gotta find the part for the vacuum booster. I wish I knew what I did with that old carburetor, because there's a fitting that screws in the back that should have a barbed fitting that'll fit. That hose will go on. I'm gonna put these power steering hoses on next. Then we'll put the alternator and the bracket on. Or maybe I'll put the alternator and bracket on, I don't know. I think I'll do these hoses next. But yeah, looking good. Super pumped, man. Put the oil filter on, put a quart of oil in that. Yeah, this is gonna be easy. This here's gonna take a good part of a Saturday, but yeah, this thing should be ready for a first start here pretty quick. Man, does it get any better than this? It's almost 80 degrees here in Oklahoma. Look at that sun, just look at it. Woo! I love it. I don't know whether I want to run, ride my bike, work on cars. I know I got to go to work in a little bit, but dang, this weather gets me excited. Whew. So much better in wintertime. I think, man, like when I was made in the batch of people to go places, I think I fell out of the bucket and landed in the wrong spot. I always wanted to live in Arizona, man. Like, I just love everything about that state and like the weather, but man, things change, and you got all your friends and family in a spot, and weather here isn't that bad. It's just either really cold or it's gonna be super hot. So but yeah, so let's put this alternator on, and then I got to start getting ready to go to work. So let's do this. So this is what happened here. I've got the alternator ready to go, but there's a bracket that bolts in the back of this, and the bottom of it goes through. It's still on the alternator, and I made a parts run over to my other location to put a bunch of parts up in a van. I have a van that I store parts in, and I must have forgotten to remove that, but all is well, because we're gonna go ahead and put this on. And yeah, go ahead and drop that right there. We're gonna put this on anyways, because I want to see what it looks like. We won't get it fastened all the way, but it's gonna be in there good enough. And it'd take me like 10 minutes to pop that back on there, so it's not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. So we'll just run a few threads in that cylinder head. And all is gonna be good. Did I say I mentioned I liked what this weather's doing? This is so cozy. Did it really? Okay. All right, thank you. All right. So we'll put this bracket on. Yeah, I should have known better than to go put all the stuff up, but it happens. So I've dug out another bracket because the bracket that came on this Blazer looked like maybe they hooked a chain to it to pull something out because it was broke and like welded in 3 different spots. I've never seen anything quite like it. So I've got this other bracket that's conveniently been not powder coated, but blasted and repainted, and I remember doing that. So yep, and it's luckily got a negative cable already on it. So we're gonna put that on there. We're gonna see what it looks like. But yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, I think after this, I gotta get those starter bolts, get all that stuff done and run the wiring down there. I'm gonna clean that up and put some sheathing over it, and then put the manifold on, then start on the radiator, getting that mocked up, and then like, I'll need an extra hand. Maybe I can talk Matt into it. Maybe if he's down, he can help me put that gas tank in. We can get that stuff hooked up. And then maybe, just maybe, we can see if this thing will fire up, because I got a few fuel lines to make, a few vacuum holes. I still got to put that booster part for that booster on. But we'll get to that. Like I said, it's just small stuff to do. I was gonna say small potatoes, but I think I said that too many times in the other video. But yeah, man, it's getting there. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's gonna turn out well. And the good thing is this motor, man, this thing just purrs. It's really good shape. Really good shape. I'm happy with it. Yeah, we'll run these bolts in, just kind of run them loose so we've got the alternator on it. I start thinking about putting wires on it, running the rest of the wiring. Like I said, those starter bolts are really hanging me up. It's kind of annoying. But yeah, it's getting there. It's amazing how easy these small block Chevys and big blocks are to work on, you know, and especially in a square body. Like, look at all this room. Even with the fender wells, I could sit like this. Like, it's so nice, but one thing I already learned is you don't want to stand on those wheels because I almost flip backwards. Oh, but I think that's gonna conclude today. I'm gonna get outside and get some sun. I think that's important for every human to be out in the sun and get a little bit of, get some of that sunshine. But yeah, that's all we're gonna get done today. Maybe we'll bolt on a few things tomorrow. Like I said, I gotta get that bracket, some starter bolts. Thanks, guys. And if, again, can't stress it enough, if you like this stuff, hit that subscribe button, man. Maybe about 50,000 of you or more. But yeah, this is cool, man. I got so much more stuff, like you can see. If I can just stay focused on one thing at a time, I've got so much to do. So much. And I'm blessed, I really am. But yeah, we also, Matt's getting pretty far on that bed on the red Ford, so I'm pretty stoked to get that running. As soon as we get that going, I gotta put a locker in the front, and we're out. We're gonna go climb some rocks, and not having to worry about smashing bed panels. Like, I'm telling you, an asteroid could hit that bed he's making. It's not even gonna get a dent in it. Like, it's gonna be like military style strong. So I'm pretty happy about that, and I think you guys are gonna like the way we were going with it. So, but yeah, if you like it, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. Like I said, I get those few things, and it's time to get this radiator done, and then we got to get some fender wells for this. Actually, I want to put new fender wells in the 72. I'm gonna put some in this because they got the rust holes, and for me to take time to fix those and everything, it's just gonna take too long. And what is a fender wheel, like 75 bucks? So yeah, but man, it's getting close. Getting close, but have a good day, guys. All right, well, maybe I lied. Maybe I'm not done. I have to get in here and sit down. I got like a process I do with this stuff. And it's kind of like what a 15 or 14, you know what I mean? Like, I got to sit in here. I got to get a feel as I'm working on it. I got to know what I'm working with here. And I'd have never thought the bench seat, though, in one of these. This is the only one I've ever seen with a bench seat. I like it. At first, I was like, man, I like the buckets in these, you know. Man, this bench seat is fantastic. It's like the El Camino when I had it. Like, before, you would have never got me to have like a Chevelle or an El Camino with a bench seat. It was like, oh, bucket seats, 4-speed in the floor, you know. Well, after I had my El Camino with that bench in that car and the column shift and stuff, like, man, that was a comfortable driving car. So I always told myself, like, oh, man, I'd buy a brand new 69 SS396 Chevelle or 70 or something, 71, 72. I'd do that, but it'd be an El Camino with a bench seat and a column shift. And at very least, maybe just the 4-speed, you know. But the bench seat is fantastic. I didn't know they made a bench seat in these, like, at all. This is the first one I've ever seen. It's got a bunch of goodies in here, but yeah, dude, like, this is comfortable. Very comfortable. So, I don't know that I'm that crazy about this 88 through 95 steering wheel. If this was a 90 or 91 K5 Blazer, it would fit, but, you know, that's a different dash, you know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of like, I like keeping with the style, but really it's growing on me. But yeah, this thing is nice, man. I wish the other one was this nice, but this one will do. I like it. It's got that like 1980s Roadhouse feel, you know? Especially with these wheels and tires. It looks like something like I would have had in high school. Because when I was in high school, everybody had those wheels and everything. But I don't know. This thing feels like it could have been in the movie Roadhouse. Rolling up to the Double Deuce. Yeah. Oh, man. We got the weather stripping falling. But yeah. You just got to get a feel sometimes, man. I like it. I like it. So, cool. Appreciate it, guys. We'll get some more on the next one.